On average, each family currently has 10.3 internet-connected devices. Everything is attached to the word smart, from smart doorbells, smart TV, smart lock, smart speaker. But let's imagine the internet is down for 24 hours. How many devices in your house would still be operational? If the light doesn't turn on when the Wi-Fi is off, is it still smart? Or have we confused connectivity with intelligence? We were promised a more convenient life, but in return, we have to create accounts, rely on servers somewhere in the world, and trust that companies won't change the rules of the game. The word smart sounds like a step forward in civilization, but perhaps it is just the most sophisticated marketing strategy of the decade. In this video, we will uncover the secrets behind that clever facade, and the reason why millions of people are being led by a word full of illusion. Let's get started. There is a reality that has gradually become familiar in recent years. Many people return home at night, reach out to turn on the lights, but the smart lights remain unresponsive. Not because the bulb is broken, not because of the circuit breaker, but because of an invisible thing that just disappeared: the internet. The chilling truth is that many smart devices are no smarter than a 50-year-old mechanical switch. They are only connected to three things: a cloud server, a manufacturer account, and sometimes an intermediary hub. And when one link malfunctions, the entire chain of convenience can freeze like a temporarily halted escalator. You can still move, but the premium experience suddenly disappears. They say that on average, each household has 3 connected devices. Imagine if in your living room there were 10 lines pulling out. Just one station somewhere being overloaded, changing policies, or undergoing maintenance. You could lose control right in your own home. And the noteworthy thing is, sometimes you have no idea where the brain of the device is located, whether it's right in your house or on some server halfway around the world. This is the point that frustrates many users the most. They don't hate technology. They hate the feeling of being forced to live according to the system. Some even said outright, if people in the house have to call you every time the network flickers to turn on the light, that's not being smart. That's being dependent. The smart label at this moment is like a VIP ticket. Beautiful, shiny, but only effective when the gate is open. So the question arises, are you owning the device? Or renting the convenience of your own? Have you ever tried turning off the Wi-Fi for 10 minutes to see what else the smart devices can still do? In the next part, we will delve deeper into another layer of secrecy, when smart devices not only depend on you, but also collect data. Do you think the device is serving you or recording you? Share with us. Which smart device in your home has frustrated you the most because it didn't work at the right moment? There is a principle in aviation and electrical engineering. When a system fails, it must fall back to a safe state. People in the industry call it fail-safe. But in the world of smart devices, many products are designed the opposite way. When there is a malfunction, they simply stop working. Let's take this example to make it easier for you to visualize. A broken escalator. It no longer runs, but you can still walk on it like a normal staircase. That's a fail-safe. What about many smart devices? When the cloud malfunctions, the hub loses connection, or automation encounters errors, the physical switch is disabled, the lights do not respond, and the temperature cannot be adjusted. Instead of becoming a staircase, it becomes a closed door. This is the point that the user community emphasizes. Fail dumb. If it breaks, revert to basic mode. Least surprise. No odd behavior. Additive. Intelligence is an addition, not a replacement for the foundation. But the reality of the market is different. Many systems are built on a centralized coordination model. Imagine the house as an orchestra. and all the instruments can only play when the conductor is still there. If the conductor, that is, the hub or server, pauses, the entire symphony falls silent. With more than 10 connected devices on average per household, the probability of a link encountering an issue is no longer a rare occurrence. And when the design does not prioritize failsafe, the risk lies not in losing convenience, but in the feeling of losing control. Users do not want to manage the system every day. They want the operator to be like electricity. You flip the switch, the light turns on. You don't need to think about firmware, servers, or updates. So the question is, if your smart system stops working tonight, what will still run? What will stop? In the next section, we will explore another layer of secrecy, where smart not only lacks failsafe and dependence, but also quietly collects and analyzes data. And when data becomes an asset, who is the real customer? There is a question that rarely appears in advertisements. When you talk to a smart device, who is really listening? We are told that virtual assistants only activate when they hear a keyword, correct. But then, a small portion of the recordings, about 0.2% with some platforms, 0.1% with other platforms, may be listened to by staff to improve service quality. The number may seem small, but try to imagine, if there are 1 million recordings, 0.2% means 2,000 recordings are listened to by humans. No longer an algorithm, it's real ears. And what surprises many people even more, you can request to download your entire voice history. When opening that file, many people were startled to realize every word spoken in the kitchen, every shopping list, every trivial conversation had all been stored. Here, the issue is not just eavesdropping, the issue is the business model. In the digital economy, data is likened to new oil. Smart TV knows what you watch, the thermostat knows when you're home, the doorbell knows who is visiting. The smart speaker knows what you're asking, at what time, and in what tone. Each device is a sensor, and on average, a household has more than 10 such sensors operating each day. When the product is sold at a competitive price, long-term profits often lie in the data and accompanying ecosystem. Information can be used to optimize advertising, improve algorithms, or provide additional services. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but the question is, do you really understand what you are giving away? The convenience is real. But in return, there's a layer of transparency that not everyone reads carefully in the dozens of pages of terms of use. So, let's ask ourselves, have you ever gone to the data management section and deleted your history? Do you know how long the devices in your home are storing information? In the next section, we will delve deeper into another sophisticated mechanism when smart devices not only collect data but also lock you into their ecosystem. And that's when the freedom of choice starts to narrow down. There is a concept in the tech business that sounds very neutral: vendor lock-in. But in the world of smart devices, it's not just a strategy, it's an invisible cage. Look at the familiar closed loop. You buy a smart bulb. You have to download the manufacturer's app. You have to create an account. You have to use a separate hub. You must agree to the terms of use. And usually, you have to connect through their cloud. Sounds normal. But try to imagine, your house has 10 devices from 5 different brands. It's no longer a home, it's 5 parallel ecosystems. Each ecosystem a small kingdom with its own rules. Economically, this makes perfect sense. When a business not only sells devices but also sells an ecosystem, long-term profits do not come from the $20 light bulb, but from you staying within that system for 5-10 years. Transition means cost. Replacing the hub, replacing the devices, learning the new app. It's like switching banks but having to rebuild the entire house. And this is where the community starts to react. Many people share a sense of fatigue over accounts, fatigue over hubs, fatigue over policy updates. They don't want every switch in their house tied to a usage policy as long as an insurance contract. Users gradually trust the open source community more than large corporations, because the community cannot shut down the server overnight. As for a company, legally, it can completely change the terms or discontinue product support after a few years. Ask yourself, if the company stops the service tomorrow, how many devices in your house will become expensive decorations? Smart should have opened up freedom, but lock-in turns it into long-term dependency packaged under the guise of convenience. In the next section, we will delve into a less discussed aspect, when smart devices are designed by people who do not actually live with them every day, and why that creates a gap between technology and real-life experiences. What do you think about having to use 3 to 4 different apps just to control an apartment? It feels like it was built by an engineer and has never lived in a real family. Just a short comment, and it sounds harsh. But when you piece together hundreds of responses, a picture emerges. The gap between the lab and the living room. In the meeting room, automation looks perfect. Motion sensor detects movement lights turn on. No movement lights turn off after 5 minutes. Neat logic. Beautiful like a PowerPoint slide. But in real life, you sit still reading a book. The light goes out. You are cooking. Your hands are wet. The app opens slowly in 7 seconds. You have to wipe your hands to turn on the light. In the demo room, it's a feature. In the real world, that's friction. And users don't buy friction. Let's talk about batteries. Many smart devices rely on batteries. Door sensors, wireless switches, motion sensors. The battery can last 6 months, 1 year in theory, but in reality, the battery dies at 2 a.m. when the temperature drops or when a firmware bug causes it to drain faster than expected. You don't receive an early warning. You only know when the device goes silent. Like a security system that only works 90% of the time. The remaining 10% is when you need it the most. Some people jokingly say that smart home is gradually turning homeowners into IT administrators, updating firmware, reset the hub, repair the device, check the network, handling automation conflicts. A normal house doesn't require you to understand network protocols. And here lies the deepest issue. Users do not hate learning. They hate being forced to learn to maintain something that should be simple. They don't want to be free beta testers for the next update. In product design, there is a principle. Least surprise, the product should not behave in a way that causes incomprehensible surprises. But automation sometimes resembles a moody friend. Today it works perfectly. Tomorrow, it takes a day off without notice. And when the house starts to have its own will, the user loses trust. Have you ever had the lights turn off by themselves while sitting still, wasting time just to fix a small bug, feeling like you have to take care of the system instead of it taking care of you? Smart should be invisible. When it becomes too present, too demanding, it is no longer a utility, but a burden. In the next part, we will delve deeper into the psychological layer behind it all. Why, despite knowing these risks, do millions of people continue to buy smart devices? And what in marketing makes the word smart such an enticing illusion? The advertisement says, "You are upgrading your life." The reality might be, you are renting back the conveniences that were once free. One of the reasons smart devices sell well is not only their convenience, but also the sense of control they provide. You can turn on the air conditioner before getting home, watch the camera from anywhere, lock the door with one touch, monitor temperature, lighting, and electricity consumption. Everything is in one app. A control panel, a power center in a pocket. Psychologically, This is a severe blow. People love the feeling of controlling their environment. And smart home is marketed as a miniature universe control panel. But what is rarely mentioned is that the control panel only works as long as the back-end system allows it. Imagine you have the house key. That's real control. Now imagine you don't have a key, but you have an application that grants remote access. And that access depends on the company's server, your account, and their update policies. You can still open the door, but you no longer have the physical key. You are being granted access. The difference is very subtle. In business, this is a shift from ownership to the access model. Just like switching from buying music CDs to renting a music streaming platform, smart devices are the same. You buy the hardware, but the intellect is elsewhere. Smart sounds like artificial intelligence, but mostly it's just an internet connection plus data plus basic automation. If you remove the internet, how much intelligence does the device retain? Like a car with a 5-inch touchscreen, but no independent engine. It looks modern, but its core value depends on something else. Smart thermostat learns habits. Smart TV recommends content. Smart speaker personalizes responses. All of this creates the feeling that the system is serving you better every day. But at the same time, the system is also collecting habits, behavior analysis, building user profiles. Not to control you in a negative sense, but to optimize the experience and business model. And here arises the big question. Is that optimization serving you? Or is it optimizing for the ecosystem? What makes this illusion strong is that it works well most of the time. 95% of the time, you don't realize the dependency. The remaining 5%, when the network fails, the server is down, or policies change, you finally see the true structure behind it. And at that moment, you realize you don't have complete control over your own house. You are operating within a system designed by someone else. Have you ever felt powerful controlling your home remotely? If a service stops supporting tomorrow, how much control will you still have? Can you distinguish between true ownership and temporary access? Smart is not bad, but when intelligence becomes an illusion of control, it strikes at a very human need, the need for mastery. In the next section, we will move on to the final chapter, when all the secrets come together: dependency, lack of fail-safes, data, lock-in, and the illusion of control. What does the overall picture of the smart industry really look like? Do you think the current smart home is an evolution, or just inflated marketing? After all the layers of marketing, closed ecosystems, and illusions of control, the most important question is not whether smart is bad, but rather, what should true smart look like? If we dissect everything according to technical logic instead of advertising, a different model emerges. A less glamorous model, but more sustainable. First, local. First, the brain is in your home. Smart really shouldn't depend on a server located far away. Imagine your home's electrical system needing to get permission from a center abroad every time you flip a switch. Sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly how many devices are operating. Local first means automation runs locally. Losing internet connection, it still works. Can back up and restore configurations. This is not just a technology philosophy, but also risk management. In finance, people diversify risk. In smart home technology, local first is a way to diversify dependency. Second, fail dumb. If it breaks, revert to basic. A good system should not freeze when an error occurs. If automation fails, the switch still stays on. If the hub fails, the lights still work. If the server is under maintenance, the door can still be opened with a physical key. That's called fail-safe. Or, as the community bluntly puts it, fail dumb. Just like a broken escalator is still a staircase. It hasn't lost its core function. Smart is not allowed to dismantle the platform that has been stable for decades. Third, open ecosystem. Don't lock the door from the inside. A house with 10 devices from 5 manufacturers should not resemble 5 separate fortresses. Open standards like Zigbee, Z-Wave, Matter exist for one reason. They allow devices to communicate with each other without needing the king's permission. Open ecosystem does not mean being against business. It means you have the right to change without having to replace the entire system. In business, that's called reducing switching costs. In life, that's called the freedom of choice. Fourth, principle of least surprise. Technology must be invisible. A truly intelligent system doesn't make you think about it. Guests can still turn on the lights when they come over. Children don't need to learn how to pair devices. Older adults don't need to install third-party applications. When smart becomes too complicated, it is no longer a utility. It becomes an engineering project. And most users do not buy a project. They buy simplicity. So what is smart really? Not a bigger screen. Not more AI. Not more features. Smart really is working when the internet is down. Doesn't keep you stuck. No strange surprises. Doesn't turn you into a system administrator. Which device in your home do you think meets these 4 criteria? Or is most of it still dependent on a brain elsewhere? In the final part, we will piece everything together. Dependence, data, lock-in, illusion of control, and pose the biggest question. Is the current smart home a technological advancement or just a business strategy labeled as smart? After all, the problem is not that technology is bad. The problem is how it is packaged, marketed, and deployed. Smart should have brought freedom, but in many cases, it brings dependency. It should have increased control, but sometimes it creates an illusion of control, and it was supposed to simplify life, but not infrequently, it forces us to manage our own home. The last question I want to leave you with: if the internet goes down for 48 hours, will your house still function normally? Are you owning technology or renting the right to use it? Please share your experience in the comments section. Which smart device has disappointed you the most? Or have you found a truly reliable solution? If you find this topic useful, please subscribe to the channel to follow the next analyses on technology, privacy, and how they affect our lives. And a small note, this video aims to analyze and discuss technology trends based on public information and user experiences. The content is not intended to criticize or target any specific brand. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.